Hey Metal, how are you? You still here? Welcome everybody to this chill stream. I don't think we're going to be doing any artwork tonight. I just, I do want to chill. Talk about this, that, everything. Of course, we'll probably talk a little bit, or a lot about my day today because I went up to see my dad. And the last time I'll most likely see him before he dies on Friday. Show off a couple things that I got there. To Oh, no problem, no problem. I just said welcome. Just making it a chill stream. Oh, did you hear me? Probably doing no artwork tonight. Just want to chill. Talk about this, that, everything. Probably a little bit about my day. Not because I went to see my dad one last time. You want company tonight? What do you mean by company? Well, if you want to come on, yeah, I definitely welcome that for sure. You know, you're welcome anytime to come on. I always don't mind some company coming on and talking with me as I do whatever. Put my headphones on then and get in the room. Make sure desktop's on is yeah, no problem. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna switch to. Give me a sec. Switching camera. I want to put an image in the area Me and my dad. Got a picture with him just before I left at his place. I think he shrunk a little. He used to be 5'11". Now he's almost my height. Hey, Metal, how are you? Yeah, probably. Although it was a good day, you know. Sure, it was probably the last time I seen him. Got to talk to him. You know, I'll probably talk to him over the next couple days too. Just call up, say hi. I love you. And I don't think it's getting your audio. You want to talk? No, it's not showing the desktop audio. Except that I've told them it's been done before, right? Yeah. Who are the two guys on the photo? One is me, I think almost obviously, and the other is my dad. Just got taken a picture with him today. Trying to get. I don't know. Yeah, that's possible. Okay, why is this not picking you up? Not good. Uh, Josh Nickel. Uh, why can't I? Okay. Uh, Switch to default. Let's see whether he. Um, a few months ago, he found out his cancer was back, and he decided where we live in Canada. He decided to opt into a program that allows government-assisted suicide. He, not fight the cancer. He had it once before a couple years ago. Got his bladder cut out because of it. Thank you, Nicole. Unfortunately, with things have gone not good for him, and he's enacted the government assisted suicide, which will be taking place on Friday of this week. And thank you, Josh, for your love. Okay. No, I don't know why it doesn't want to pick up. Yeah, this is part of desktop audio, right? Let's see. True, true. Let me come over to Discord. Settings. Voice audio. It says the output device is supposed to be thing. Yeah. Yeah, nobody can hear you in the meantime. Like, what's his name was on here just the other day, Fitzchozo, and everybody was able to hear him. And hello, Alpha Parta. You have your dad's name and nose. Oh, that's nice. Not. Okay, let's see whether I got any filters on this. That might. Let's take off. Trash that. Add gain. Okay, let's say close. Want to talk? Okay, that's. Let's see. User volume. Let's put you up to 200. Now that's probably going to deafen me. Oh, it didn't seem to do much. Yeah, except I can go thing. But I put your user volume up to 200%, and you're not any louder in my ears. Yeah, well, it's just, it's, uh, it's the LED TV which I'm on, which the audio comes to normally. Yeah, yeah, it is. That's the first thing I checked. Okay. And I switched output sound to something else. And I guess we'll do it back to LETV. And I guess something is really wrong with OBS lately. Even when I play videos, it doesn't want to play them lately. I might have, yeah. I might have to. Well, people might have to just go with not hearing you, unfortunately. Yeah. am trouble. Make minutes. Yeah. Disable thing. So now I can't even hear you. Now I re-enable so I can hear you now. But can they hear you? And they cannot. I don't know. Yes, I'll. Yeah, that's good. That's good. But yeah. Well, one thing I was going to share, as I was saying, just before I left, I got to tell. I told him, like, you know, he could say, Jesus forgives me up until the last second, and he said he'll try. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Capture window. Okay, talk. Try now. Only to my private ears, it looks like. And yeah. And hello, Mike. So yeah, and I've got you. You can't see the Discord, but that's a window capture. Discord. Yeah. Okay, where do I find that? Okay. Default. This is. Okay, try talking now. No. No. That was I did the audio output and I did the LED TV. Let's try input. No, that just shows on my mics. Well, like I said, I've been having trouble playing videos too. the last month or so, showing videos off. So I don't know what I got to do. I might have to take OBS out and reinstall it. Obviously, I can't do that right now, but and hello if it's just yeah. So people will just have to make do. But I'm gonna blank myself out here for a second. Oh no, I can just bring this camera there. I just want to show some pictures I got today at my dad's. I might show them again. My dad as a baby. You can't see, can you? See when they're okay. Yeah. Well, now you can see. Yeah. Yeah. So there's him and the baby, you know. You can't see what? Yeah, I know you can't hear metal. It's not gonna. I'm doing whatever I can to try and pick him up. It doesn't want to pick him up. I've got to do something else. So metal will talk to me. I may be responding to him sometimes. I don't think anybody's. Yeah, it's like can only work on it so long. You know, I can only do the same thing over and over and over again so many times. You know, they say what insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So there's my dad as a baby. Here, I'm not sure how old he was, but this is with a Christmas gift that he got that he had really wanted. A rifle. It was almost like, a Christmas story. Yeah. Except he didn't shoot his eye out, I don't think. uh, and didn't do all the other stuff, according to this, that happened. Although he did have, well, at this point, I'm not sure how many of his brothers would have been born. Maybe both of his brothers. And he had a whole bunch of sisters. He had 5 sisters and all. So, 2 are gone. 1 wants nothing to do with him because of some stuff that happened in the past, and just also at the same time she's being an idiot. A couple of the other sisters have gotten over the same sort of thing. Uh, but yeah, there's. I forget what the gun was called. You guys probably saw this one before for some of you. At least I showed it off, but I had given him a copy of it. And I got it back because, what's happening with him. And Friday is him and my mom on their wedding day. I'm trying to show some of these in order of things that happened to him in life. He went down to Disney World in like 81, and he got himself sketched. So that's with the artist and all that. '19. Yeah. Yeah. So I would have been 8 at this time. Now, I probably told this story before, but I forget what year it was. Um, he took a fall. He was on a job site, and he fell 20 feet straight down onto cement and smashed. It might have been a little higher, but I think it was 20 feet. Uh, his feet were basically in. Both of his feet were totally smashed. You know, and part of one of his legs. Um, they said that the chance of him walking again would be nil or very low. He's been walking for. It took him. He took him quite some time to get back to walking, but he's been walking for over 20 years, over 30 years since it happened. But about a year later, yeah, and when he fell in was like a 2 or 3 by 2 to 3 thing. There was like this board connecting these two parts of a building, and the board wasn't secured properly. He stepped on it, the board flipped up, and he went down. And this, I think, this picture I'm about to show you is taken about a year later on the exact spot where he fell. So, yeah. It might have been a little bit longer than a year. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, but, you see he's on crutches. He was in a wheelchair for quite some time. So, you know, that's a little bit resilient about he is. Well, actually, a few years later after this, I was working one summer um, on a job site with him, and he was going over something with me about how to use the sledgehammer right. Although I thought I was using it pretty good to begin with, but let's forget about that. And he was standing right by me as I was using the sledgehammer to knock this one 2x4 off another 2x4, or some other plywood or whatever. I forget exactly. But I bring it up, I bring it down to swing, I missed the board, and I kept going, not intending, of course, and slugged him right in the cheek with like an 8 or 10 pound sledgehammer. Didn't break a bone. Didn't go down. Pardon? Well, the joke was because he said, when I nod my head, you hit it. Yeah, I do. Obviously, I did not hit him on purpose. Middle asked, why would I do that to my dad? People. So, but yeah, I got the nickname Sledge from that, He was doing a family reunion type thing at his place at the time, and the next weekend it was that, and my grandmother was there, his mom. And she asked what happened because he had this huge bruise on his side of his face. Didn't break a bone, like I said. Didn't go down. He was woozy. I could have got in a second hit. I could have probably got in more than a second hit, but but my grandmother was told the situation. She looked between us a few times and said, "No, he couldn't have done that. He's still alive," meaning me. In other words, if I would hit my dad like that on purpose and meant it, I'd be dead. Yeah, yeah. Well, as you saw from the other picture, he's not quite that big anymore. Um, Yeah, he was 5'11" at that, like in height, 5'11". I'm supposed to be about 5'7", and as you can see, he must have shrunken a little because he's really close to me in height there. He's like only 5'8", 5'9". Yeah, yeah. Well, he's close to full height. If you look at his legs, they really aren't bent much or whatever. There. Uh, yeah. You know, and I'm not trying to do. Obviously, not. He's no, saying about how people. I'm telling everybody in the audience what you're saying. That Metal's saying about a lot of people, old people lose their spine from decompression. That's how a lot of people that depending on how you sleep, you can actually gain like an inch to your height. But yeah, so those are a couple. Well, I've got a couple other pictures here, not of him, but a couple pictures that he had that my cousin drew, which was my grandfather's brother's, one of his brother's kid. So I'm not sure what that would be. How I know he's a cousin, but not my father. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so second cousin. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. But anyways, he was an artist as well, and he did pointillism. So here is one of the things he did. Got a couple more here. Yeah. Yeah. There's another one that he did. Uh, and this frame and gloss got a little broken. This is before I got it. So you have to bear with me. All right. Oh, oops. Yeah, and there was a fourth one, but I gave it to my uncle, my dad's brother. He asked, well, we said about giving to one of them, thing. He asked me which one I want. I like all of them. probably equally. I said, which one do you want the most to him, when he was dropping me off? And he said that one. So, you know, yeah, so those are some pictures that I got. I got a couple laptops off of them. One that needs, I think he bought a keyboard for it, but and mouse because the keyboard's a little not existent. And I had turned this on and the mouse pad or the pad didn't seem to work, so and I got the keyboards in that for pardon. But it turns on and yeah, but if you plug like the keyboard and mouse to it, it comes on. Well, it comes on all right. No problem with that. It just needs. Yeah. Oh, I get that. But, uh, like I could plug it in as a quote unquote second monitor and not have it attached to my computer or whatever. I don't know. Well, you know, there's another one here, a smaller one. My church really needs a better laptop. The one that I got while I was out west, I was going to bring there, but I lost the power cord to it, or I misplaced it at my cousin's that I was staying at. So I might just bring this smaller one to my church. It's newer. Load up the stuff that needs to be loaded up. So doing the overhead stuff will be a lot easier. And I'm the one doing the overhead stuff, so. Oh, yeah. Well, I got this one for free, right? So bringing it, you know. Yeah, but you're right. I could go onto Amazon. I looked it up for $20. Get a new, yeah. I'm not sure whether that's Canadian or American. I think it was Canadian because I think it went to Amazon.ca. So, I'm going to do that eventually, but then I'll probably find the other one at her place. Oh, well. Yeah. Yeah. And, well, I was going to see whether the adapter that I got with the one with my dad's would work or not. You know, if I could find the yeah, which call it laptop, but I was looking for it just before the stream, and I seem to have misplaced it somewhere. And I was thinking I could probably hook one of these laptops up to my big TV behind me. That way I can, play some movies or whatever that I have video files of. Because that I normally at when I was on Wentworth, my other place, like with my mom, I'd used to plug like a USB into a Blu-ray player and just play it through that. But I don't know where my Blu-ray player is, or if I got rid of it. I forget. I probably kept it, but it's somewhere in all my crap. I've got like I'm renting a 10 by 10 storage room, at a storage place, and that place isn't completely full. That's except for what I've got in here. And all this stuff could probably fit in there. That's all the crap I have. Now, if I could, yeah, if I could get an apartment of my own, all my crap would fit in there, and I wouldn't need a storage unit. But the problem is, I need a job where I'm getting a whole lot more hours that I can get things on. so I have more money coming in. Yeah, yeah, and obviously I'm still launching Canadian Shield 3 on Sunday, or not Sunday, Saturday over on John's. Everything's, sort of settled with what's going on with my dad. So, unfortunately, he'll be dead. I'm going to be doing some. I might need to get you, see, in the next couple days, maybe to go over my page, see if I've got it. Hey, see whether you think what I could add to it, and also any corrections on. I know there's a couple of corrections I already need to put on. And then something I've already decided I'm putting in Canadian Shield 3 on the inside cover is a dedication to my dad. I thought of doing an alternate cover, a dad alternate cover, some sort of thing to him. With my dad on the cover. What? I guess. Alpha suggested, I forget. The Richard Pryor poster where Superman is catching him in the air or flying him in the air. A similar one to that with the Canadian Shield holding my dad. I'm just not sure whether, yes, I think it's neat, but I'm not sure how many people would be interested in something like that because it's definitely a more personal thing, I would say. Yeah. Metal is suggesting. Yeah, Metal is suggesting, and like on the inside, an in slip, maybe the inside back cover or the back cover itself. Yeah, that's definitely a thing to do, because I just want to do something more on my dad. Yeah. Um, Metal's just saying about it being hard to find a good thing to put on the inside back cover, and saying an homage to my dad would be a real good thing to put there. The picture that I was suggesting. Nobody's chatting in chat. You probably see that. You can see the chat a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Metal says I should yell at you guys to chat more while he goes to throw the bowl to his ramen out. Why can't we hear Metal? Because for some reason, Discord is not picking them up. I tried to work with the audio. It doesn't want to pick up my desktop audio for some reason. You know what? I was gonna try unplugging me, and I should probably be moving my mic over here too, so people can hear me better. Tried about 10 different things to. Metal is a devil's music, so cross come expand it. Hey, what about heavenly metal or Christian metal? Now I got you thinking, don't I, Alpha? Did you see the pictures I showed earlier, Alpha? No, no, that's all right. No, I went to get food. Okay, I will show them again. Something to do. Uh, so we'll start with the first one. My dad as a baby. Hmm. My dad with a Christmas present that he got when he was like 10 or 11. So this is almost like this Christmas story where he wanted a Ridge Rider gun or some sort of gun. Red Rider. I think this was Ridge Rider or something like that. I know he told me. But no, he did not pop his eye out, shoot anybody with it. I'm not sure whether it's a BB gun or not, but maybe, probably something like that. Obviously, I don't think it would have live ammo or real type of ammo. I'm not sure exactly. But this is him with. Yeah, well, I was probably a little bit older than him, and I did. Um, Canada back then probably would have Alpha. Canada was a little different back then. Um, and as I said, people have probably seen this picture before too. Because I showed it because I have a copy of it. My dad and my mom on their wedding day. Yeah, we had the Boy Scouts here. Um, Metal was just asking whether we had our own version of the Boy Scouts. Yes, the Boy Scouts were in Canada and Girl Scouts were here. I think we might have had a different a Canadian version as well, or something else. But the Scouts were here, and they're still here. Yeah, I was never in them. I was in probably the Christian version, the Crusaders, through the Pentecostal church. And here is a picture of my dad got drawn of himself at Disney World in 1981. I was not, as I just said. I thought Scouts were founded on Christian foundation. They probably I was going to say they probably were. Um, but yeah. But with Crusaders, they did the whole scripture stuff and all that. A lot of the scripture stuff. They added a lot more of that stuff in. And as I was telling Metal and everybody else that was here, um, in the 80s, I forget what. No, was it 80s? 90s. I ate. It must have been early 90s. I was still in high school. My dad, at one of the sites he was on as a millwright, fell straight down 20 feet onto concrete. Did they get infiltrated too? What? The Boy Scouts here or the Crusaders? Oh, fuck. But yeah, he fell 20 feet straight down. 20 feet straight down, smashed all the bones in his feet and part of one leg. Um, he was told that the chances of him ever walking again were pretty much no, if not no. And he's been walking now for like 30 plus years. And the space that he fell down through was like a 2x3. He said I never said this earlier, but he tried to grab onto the beam that was right next to him. Not that he would be able to, but it says, he said that, or they said that his fingerprints were in the thing, at least the top layer of his fingerprints. It's not like he dug in, you know. But that probably slowed his fall a little bit. But yeah, smashed all his feet. But I'm about to show a picture of him about a year later in the exact spot where he fell. So this is about just over a year. Yeah. 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 And I'm not sure whether I've told this story before tonight on here. Um, it was sometime after that. My dad had these family reunion things, and I was working with him on a job site. This is after he was back at work after this accident, and he was instructing me on how to use a sledgehammer properly to get these boards off. I was doing fine. I was getting it. Um, but he came over and instructed me a little bit how to do it better. And he was like, okay, take a swing at it, to show me that you can do it the way that I said to do it. And, well, I brung it up, and I took all my weight, swung it down, went to hit the 2x4 that was attached to this other board to knock it off. I missed the 2x4 and came full swing and hit him smack in the jaw. He didn't break a bone. He didn't go down. He was woozy, and I could have hit him again, but I hit him pretty hard with an 8 to 10 pound sledgehammer. My dad, I never said this earlier, my dad said to me after it, remember this. You've hit me as hard as I'm ever going to go down, or as hard as you've ever going to hit me, and I did not go down. Yeah, but like I thought after he said that a few times, yeah, I'm gonna hit you again. Any other person, I think that would have broke their jaw. But another thing that happened, I was saying about the family reunion, my grandmother, his mom, was there for it, and she got told the story. She looked back between both of us and said, "No, it couldn't have happened. He's still alive," meaning me, because if my dad, if I would have hit my dad like that, my dad would have killed me. Okay, so a couple other things that I was showing people too. A couple pictures that I got from a cousin that was into pointillism. Unfortunately, he died about 5 or 10 years ago. And got these pictures off my dad. Yes, the Lord did, Joshua. That's for sure. Although I've gotten punched twice between the nose, right there, right in between the eyes, or top of the nose, I should say, not in between the nose. And I just acted like it didn't happen. One guy just kept walking towards, like, okay. Sounds like something from a comedy, yeah. So there's the one picture. Here's the other picture, or one of the other pictures. Trying to get all this stuff in frame is hard. Okay, and now for the biggest one. Well, not biggest one, but a little bit more difficult. Because the frame is broken and so is the glass. That did not happen in transportation. So, yeah. Uh, so what do you think of the pictures, Alpha? And this, of course, is a picture of me. Yeah, that is all done in pointillism. All points, dots, all those pictures. Well, technically not those ones. They could be or couldn't be. It depends on how you look at it. Those are copies, if you will. He got prints made of them. Those are all prints, I believe, not the. Like by a printer, I mean like, like a big printer place. Not like somebody's home printer. Yeah, this eagle is number 1 out of 100. Yeah. Balloon here is, I think, 355 of 500. Well, this owl was done in 82. Oh, and it is the first of 100 as well. Wow, they could maybe be valuable someday. Because it's the first print. Yeah, well, and unfortunately, like I said, he died some time ago. But yeah, things are happening with my dad on Friday. I think I let everybody know that already. Um, the nurse is actually supposed to be coming around, I think 11 to get things set up. The doctor at noon, so and they're supposed to be calling the crematorium to come pick him up at about 1. Let's just get that. Let my boss know that. Sorry, man. Uh, Although something good, when I was there today, just before I left, I let him know that even up to the last second, all he has to do is say, Jesus, forgive me. And he answered, I would try. And then to my surprise, his brother, my uncle, backed me up. I knew that that family was religious, but I didn't realize they actually believed in, we'll say, being born again. Unfortunately, not. Joshua, my dad doesn't really want a funeral. He doesn't want all the hoopla with that. Although my Uncle Charlie is not so much planning a funeral, but a memorial service. My dad had a couple. Yeah, I guess. But my dad had a couple celebrations of life before he died, so people could come say bye to him and all. But I don't think what my dad gets what funerals are really all about. They're more about family getting some closure, you know, by coming and saying, sharing in their grief of missing the person, of losing the person, however you want to say it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have never known anybody else like that, or very few. But, like, not that I'm not a dad, but, like, if I had a family, I would way before me having a funeral, people having a funeral for me. Yeah. And thank you, Jeff. I'm not sure what all you heard, but thank you. So, yeah, my uncle that I went up there with um, is going to plan some sort of thing. My dad wants his ashes to be scattered in some of the rivers where he fished at on a regular basis, especially for the quote unquote family fishing trip. So I'll be along for that as well when that happens. So, there's, like I said, today went good. as good as it can be for what's going on, I guess. It was definitely sad. That's a picture of me and my dad today. Again, something I took just before I left. You know, my stepmom asked me at the last one celebration of life to take a bunch of pictures, and the one picture I forgot to take. I got lots of other people's pictures. I got a picture of me with a bunch of my first cousins and all that. Okay, I froze. Okay, and I'm okay. I'm back. um, no, but the one from picture that I forgot to take was me with him. A picture of me with him. In his last days. And then even when I was up at his place for my birthday week, I forgot to get a picture with him. I was shooting myself for that. But, I was there today. I brought my phone, and I knew I was planning on doing it. And, so right before I left, it's like, can I get a picture? I want to grab a picture with you. And my Uncle Charlie did the same thing. So I got a picture of that too, him with my Uncle Charlie. My Uncle Charlie actually took this picture too. So that is, it's good. Like got a good picture with him. You know, proud. He's said he's real proud of me and all that too. So that's definitely nice to hear. Because of like my bot when he was near around the beginning. He happened to come by my work to pick me up after work, and my boss came out, told him, what a nice guy I am, that he really likes me and all that. So he was glad to hear that. He was helping me drop off something here at my room, and even my landlord said about liking me and all that, and that really made him proud to hear. Made him even more proud of me. Are you still there? Metal? Okay. I'm not sure what else to say now. Why does the chat not want to speak when I need them to speak? I know, they'll let me speak. Let me do my thing. Yeah. Yeah, I do that too sometimes. Or I put it on mute, and then go do whatever I want to do. Give people watch time. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Yeah, just what I hate when you ask the chat, they say something in the chat, you respond, and then ask a question of them, and then they don't respond back. It's like, Yeah, yeah. I don't show the emote, but sometimes I do that. Just turn it on, and I don't say anything in chat because yeah, yeah. Uh, Not that I'm not glad that they do say what they do say when they say it, but uh, either be on to something else or end it. Yeah. Well, I get other stuff coming on that I don't know who it is, and that was even before raids or whatever. I think so. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. This would be more interesting if people could hear both sides of our conversation. Okay, everybody out there, is this more interesting because you can't hear Metal's words, Metal speaking, who's with me in the Discord, or less interesting because you don't know? And now nobody will respond. And I say that just to make sure they will respond. No. Fitzjoseph says it's yeah, but do you have to make up what you think unless I tell you what he's saying? What he's saying? Do you make up what he's saying? You're asking by my response. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Outcast. I'm not sure what you've heard or whatever. Let me know. Obviously, you know some stuff about. So I had something about my dad because I'm showing the picture. But I went up to see him today. His last day on Earth, unless God does a very mighty miracle, will be Friday, about noonish time, Eastern Standard Time. Does that include? Does that include Newfoundland? Yeah. Well, yeah, but the reason I said that was obviously I know the West. You said North America, so I know you know automatically Canada goes a fourth hour, another hour ahead than the American East Coast. But Newfoundland, I'm not sure whether they're behind or forward to this, but they're in a half hour differentiate or part of it. Yeah. I'm not sure whether it's on top of or behind it. Um, let, let me look that up. Found coming. So, Okay, this is. Uh, yeah. Okay, the Newfoundland time zone is 2.5 hours, not three. So they are half of an hour behind Atlantic. But no, 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 no. They are half an hour closer to the thing. They're not 3 hours. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six time zones here in Canada. Yeah. Threshold. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so I've been here for a while, but I'm at a loss for words. Oh, no problem, no problem. Uh, nobody's, obviously everybody's gonna say they're sorry and their condolences and all that sort of thing, and I appreciate that. But we're trying to talk about other stuff. I showed off some pictures, and I'm sure whether you saw those, what you think of those. You know, just you can just chat about whatever we're chatting about. Right now, we're chatting about time zones, or we were. Although you can't hear metal. Uh, yeah, I wasn't sure whether you were aware of the Newfoundland time zone. Obviously, since I said something about it. I don't think a lot of people. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, I was just my aunt that I went up with to see my dad. Was just sort of talking about that today. I had known about it before that they were the half hour thing. I wasn't sure where it fell in the spectrum of things, but because my aunt was just last week in Newfoundland, so yeah, that was different, interesting. Well, and I'm not sure whether it's all of Newfoundland or just the island of Labrador. Well, it says Newfoundland, so. Uh, well, it looks all purple. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, yeah, I am looking at this. And yeah, the island of Labrador part of Newfoundland is in the Newfoundland time zone, but the mainland of part of it is actually in Atlantic time zone. So they're doing a Texas thing. Although once you cross a certain part in Ontario, it looks like we part of Ontario switches to Central Daylight Central Time Zone. Yeah, it's definitely it's interesting when you go and look at this stuff and you don't realize it. Yeah, you just get your own private island that you buy to call it other family. Yeah, well, I was gonna say even if you find it or don't find it, you go there, buy it, name it, other Foundland. You found it. You found it. You bought it. Yeah, you're founder of the country, the new country of other Foundland. I wouldn't mind owning my own island country. Or at one time I wouldn't have. I'm not sure whether I do now. Yeah, that's the problem with it. It'd be a lot of work. Yeah. I wonder how many people you need to have to make a technically a country in your country. Yeah, okay, well then it's getting people to recognize your country, your land as your own country. Sealand? Like the like the amusement park or oh okay. I thought there was a sea land as well. Okay. Alpha Proto says you just need a constitution. I think there's lots of countries out there in the world today that don't have a constitution. I could be wrong. Like, does China have a constitution? Okay. Well, Metal says you're wrong, Alpha, that you don't need a constitution. Like England, he says, doesn't have one. Not really. They don't have a formalized one. Oh, or what was the yes in China having one? Do you know whether China has one or not? Or Japan? Or any of the countries in, say, Africa? And a lot of these countries, yeah. And then the thing is, a lot of these countries became countries before a constitution was a thing, too. Yeah, well, kingdoms involve countries. Yeah, sort of like a United States. Yes, Africa isn't a country, but I said there's many countries in Africa. Yeah, but I wasn't referring to that one exactly, but I'm just saying there's lots of countries in Africa that were country, well, and Europe and Middle East that were countries before countries were had constitutions. Uh, Meadow was saying the Magna Carta was most likely the grandfather of a constitution that gave, what do you say, rights to the people, and that it was, no, something that kings could not encroach upon. Uh-huh. I don't want to repeat everything. I hate this. That it's you can't hear your audio. Fitzchozo shares a link. I don't know what it's for. Let's see. Uh-huh. Well, you know what I never did? I never shared this out. I don't want to do that. We're going to share this out for the last half hour. Although maybe people can watch in the aftermath. Okay, there, I'm back. I'm back. Dun, 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 dun. I think I've probably heard this before, but I forget, so I'll say no. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's in the middle of Italy. Yeah. There's not. Okay, Lesotho. Landlocked nation. I wonder if. Well, we know there's a few sea locked nations. Or a series of islands. Yeah. New Zealand. Well, isn't a continent, but a sea locked. Yeah. But yeah, and then there's like Cuba, Jamaica, a bunch of the Caribbean islands. Are the Caribbean islands? There are a bunch of different countries, aren't they? Or are they all the same country? Yeah. Well, Trinidad is another one. Okay. I thought Haiti was land, like in South America. Okay. You got to be a virgin to live there. The population wouldn't go. Yes, the only way to get more people is by influx more people, and they can only. It's all kids that go there as their new population. They run away from home. Oh. Yeah, they never grow up, right? They're boys forever. Makes sense. We now know where the Never Never Land is. It's in the Virgin Islands. uh, so, but he's eternally youthful. Metal saying in the original stories, Peter Pan is not the good guy. He's like a demon. He's kidnapping little boys all the time, and then they grow up to become pirates that hate him because they kidnapped him. Yet he's eternally useful. Uh, Fitzgerald says, I'm struggling to make a Yu-Gi-Oh card deck right now. Sorry to hear that. And apparently, he has killed a bunch of pirates, so he's killed his former friends. Doesn't sound like a friend you'd want to have. Yeah, I think. Well, heck, I don't think Disney alone did it for like Grimm's Tales, made them cutified, or as we might say, Disneyfied. But I think it was more than them that did the. I'm not sure what. Fitzgerald says Peter usually just kills the kids when they get too old. Maybe I can have Peter Pan in my comic book. When asked the guy, a villain. It'd be neat to put the Grimm's fairy tales in somehow. Well, I've thought of redoing them as superheroes before or whatever, and it'd be neat. Yeah. Well, yeah, because he wouldn't have been Grimm's fairy tales, but yeah, yeah. But in the first stories, was he called Peter Pan or not? Well, then you could probably get away with calling him Peter. Yeah. Well, if I made him a villain or whatever in my universe and called him Peter Pan, they can do anything about it. Especially if I, use something based on the original works, where he is a bad guy and killing kids, kidnapping kids and killing kids and all that. And then my superheroes have to stop him somehow. You, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's see. Yeah. Save image. Um, Joshua doodled me a picture. Here, let me bring it up. Uh, it's in there. Comments. There we go. Thanks, Jeff. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. And you have a good night, too. Yeah. Is that the full thing? There's the full thing. Okay, so now we need to bring up the other one, which... Oh, and you saw me show off the blender thing last night, right? Let me bring it up for those that didn't see it, which probably... Uh-huh. Should be able to see it now. It just needs to be rigged, and Alpha Proto showed me a place where you could auto rig it last night, and I did that, but I haven't figured out how to pose it or whatever move stuff with the auto rig yet. So, yeah. But, yeah, I gotta color it too, there's that. Which I gotta figure out how to do again. But it's neat to have this. Now the other thing I gotta do, oh yeah, the other thing I got today too, not that it's a big deal, is a motorcycle helmet of my dad's. Okay. I didn't know this, but apparently it has one that says Piper as well, and my stepmom, when she heard that I asked for motorcycle helmet, I think she was thinking of that one and did not like the fact that I was going to get it from my dad. Meanwhile, she doesn't do any of that sort of thing. I think it's going to be difficult to get some things from her. because I offered to. Yeah, uh, I offered to come help her, sort some through some stuff in the upstairs, which is hard for her to get up to, to walk upstairs. She was like, no, like that. She wants to do it all herself. And I like her and all, but it's like, I've known my dad 52 years. You've known him like 20 years. I never said that, but I probably shouldn't be saying it on here in case anybody in the family sees it, hears or whatever. Tells my dad not to lose much time. I don't want to cause any friction. I don't have to like stuff and not cause any friction. If you know what I mean. Born to be smiled. I don't even know what that means, but I can be wild at times. I've toned myself down, I think, at times. Maybe too much, I don't know. But the hard, I did some crazy stuff when I was a kid too. Like, I got into, I jumped off a roof, not set myself on fire though. I jumped out of a second story window, split my head open. Well, I think that was bringing the speaker down behind me though. Got into a homemade go-kart. Again, split my head open. Falling out the back of it. I, uh, I was playing on my mom's car that was in the driveway and ended up getting a hairline fracture in my foot. I was going to babysit. I think I was there going to babysit my cousins, and I ran. I would say I was going to say ran out in front of a bus, but the bus was blocking part of the street to see what cars are coming. The bus didn't hit me, but another car did. uh, yes. Yeah, at one point in time, I was an accident waiting to happen. Well, and of course, I have crashed my e-bike too, so. And then we had a broken leg and got a piece of metal in my leg, holding my two bones together. And a bunch of screws in my ankle because of it. And there's a couple other things I've done that I'm probably trying to could remember, but so I've done a few crazy things. Oh, I remember one night I was driving home and somehow crashed my bike by like a 10 speed or 12 speed, something like that. And I really messed up my one shoulder. There was like, ended up having a huge scar on it, like in the area I'm encircling. I'm not sure whether it was that shoulder. It could have been the other shoulder. Yeah. Well, that's not dumb on your part. That's dumb on his part for letting you. uh, ooh. Oh, chill. Yeah, yeah, I forgot for a sec. Nobody heard that story. Yes, Meadow was telling how he messed himself up on spring break one time with his brother's bike. The details will follow on the vomitorium at some time. Or maybe here another night when we can get the audio working properly. Uh, yeah, definitely. Lots of crazy stuff. And sometimes as an adult too. Well, hopping over fences, I might still do if I didn't have the gut that I have. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, heck, even some number of years ago, 6 years ago, I'm not sure how big they were, but I was sort of going over fences, even with sort of this bod or close to this bod, because it was just a way to. I was doing papers at night. It was just a way to get through the road easier, jump over this fence. One fence. Yeah. 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 Uh, oh yeah, that probably not happening for me. Heck, even when I was in good shape, that probably not happening to me because I've never been good at pull-ups. I'm not sure whether I can do the one. I don't know. It depends on how far I got my hands up and over the fence. Yeah, well, then it just depends on how fast you can do it too. Yeah, he's just running up the fence. Half your a quarter of you is over, but the other half is trying to run up the fence. While pulling. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Yeah. We're trying to get the one without winning yourself. Where you gotta sit that through. Well, it's about that time. I'd ask whether you want to promote anything, but nobody would hear you. But of course, you can put some links in the chat if you want. Yes, he's promoting his website, as you can probably see by the link, xdynamuschaos.com. And again, thank you, Metal, for coming on tonight. It's good chatting with you. We haven't done this in a while. Uh, mm, maybe tomorrow night or Thursday night we can get together to go over my page for uh, the whatchamacallit, the campaign for Canadian Shield 3. Yeah, yeah. Well, tomorrow, well, technically, sometimes lately I've been doing a 6 o'clock show on here because of trying to color up Canadian Shield. And then I usually end up going on Chris and Diane's if they're do a show. So that's usually ended around 10:30. And Thursday, I do, of course, the Silhouette game. which goes to 8:30. Yeah. Your show ends what, about midnight my time? Or does that one? Well, that is that when it starts or stops? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's so it stops then and it starts when my time? Oh, well then technically, well, depend. Don't have a lot really to do on it, but yeah, probably tomorrow night around 10:30 would probably be better. Alpha, he's like, dang, I thought today was Wednesday. No, tomorrow is Wednesday. Well, actually, it is Wednesday for me since I'm in Eastern Standard Time Zone. It's now 12:02 for me. For you, I was gonna say for you and Alpha. Alpha is like an hour or two behind me. I think an hour. So it's still Tuesday for him. Alpha says, I wish I could hear you all. Sounds like I'm listening to someone talk on the phone. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's probably like. Uh, Metal just says he misses being in Central Time Zone. Uh, yeah. So, but on a completely another sort of downer note, just before we end, the 8th of July is also the day that my mom's dad died back in 1996. Yeah. Uh, 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 yeah. Yeah, I went there for, I'm not sure how long. Or yeah, 1996. I was like 20 something at the time. Well, makes sense. Okay, anyways, yeah, I said I was going to end this. So we will talk to hopefully everybody maybe tonight, tomorrow night, whatever it is for you, uh, for a show. If not, for sure, Thursday when we do Silhouette Game, which will be American patriotic superheroes. And of course, Metal will not be participating because he doesn't want to gain any points to somehow get above -2, which he's never gotten. I don't know how you get negative. I don't know how you get -2 in my game, and I invented it. And of course, that will be in honor of America's birthday, July the 4th, last week. And of course, last week we did Canadian superheroes in honor of Canada's birthday a few days before on July the 1st. And thank you, Outcast. Outcast says, good night, all. I think it means good night, y'all. Prayers with you, Rick. And Alpha's like, yeah, America. Okay, so bye, everyone. God bless. Great seeing you all here.